calendar, I remember in 1972 or 73, we wanted to publicise Rath Yatra. We had a budget to do it with because Mahavishnu inherited some money. And one of the things we did was we made stickers. We were very naughty, really. We had these bright orange stickers, and we stuck them everywhere, on every available surface. But the sticker said, London Summer Festival. And we just assumed, we thought, everyone's going to come to this now, because it's such a big occasion. This is the Summer Festival of London. Of course, we did get a better turnout because we publicised it. We even had on the buses. We had advertisements on the buses, and we had it so that, on the front of the bus, in those days anyway, you had the long poster on the side of the bus, and then on the front there were two posters sort of this size on either side of the front of the bus. So we had Jagannath's two eyes on the front of the buses. I don't know, about 100 or so buses had this. Anyway, we were thinking, that the seven buried places, the centre of the universe, so Jagannath is master of the universe, seven buried places, is the centre of the universe, and Rath Yatra is the biggest festival happening. Anyway, Charlie said to me, that's amazing, this goes on every year? I never heard of it. Of course, that is the sad truth. For most people, they've never heard of Rath Yatra, they haven't the faintest idea what it is. But it's our life. So he was looking at this video, and in the distance, at first you couldn't see it, but gradually you began to realise, my goodness, what's that? Enormous thing coming down Piccadilly, right at the far end. And at first you don't even know it's moving because it's a long way away, but slowly you realise it's coming towards you. This huge sort of temple, 40 feet high, coming down, and the crowd is moving, and as the crowd comes past, the kirtan becomes clearer, and it's a really great kirtan, lots of drums, and it's exciting, the atmosphere. And then as that kirtan moves past, and the sound becomes more muffled and confused, and there's other sounds, and people shouting and singing, and then you realise there's another kirtan coming. And for a while you can hear both of them, it's sort of confusing, and then the next one comes close, and that's another amazing kirtan, a different kirtan. And the chariots come a bit closer, and then I said, and Charlie, he's an artist, and he's got very excited. He said, gosh, I have to see this. He said, that chariot. And I said, yeah, and you know what? Behind that chariot, there's two more. So he's coming to Rath Yatra on today. He's escaping from. Today is also they have the Royal Horse Show in Windsor Great Park, and he's got some important art patron that he's got to meet there in the Royal Enclosure, and then he's dashing away to come and see Jagannath. He's very excited. So our Rath Yatra is becoming, every Rath Yatra is amazing. But each year it's more amazing than the last one. And you get a sense of what this Rath Yatra is, this wonderful description of the magnificence of the Yadu dynasty in their stately progress towards Kurukshetra. And we're told that when they got to Kurukshetra, they bathed in the lakes there, and they had a feast, just like we will have. In Trafalgar Square, a great feast will be served. And Prabhupada gives a little tidbit of information, as he did with us. He fed us so much detailed information to help us in our lives. And here he mentions that the Bhagavatam describes that they had a sumptuous feast in which they fed the Brahmins with first-class cooked food. And Prabhupada just mentions that according to the Vedic system, there are two kinds of food. There's cooked food and there's raw food. But the Vedic idea of raw food is not quite the same as ours. Raw food, he said, does not include raw vegetables and raw grains. There's quite a fashion at the moment for raw vegetables. I forget what they call it. They've got some name for it. So like high metabolic food, or I forget what it is. It's quite fashionable amongst yoga aficionados. But the Vedic tradition actually generally doesn't include raw vegetables. Prabhupada said raw means it's just boiled in water. So it could include chapatis or dal, rice, ordinary vegetables. This is called raw foods, as well as fruits and salads. Very good, healthy diet. But cooked food means it's cooked in ghee. So you have puris, kachoris, samosas, sweet balls. Yeah. Well, you can indulge when you're young. But later in life, actually, you look forward to, I find that, I just look forward to the raw food category. And generally, anyway, we eat simply during the week, and then Prabhupada gave this wonderful system of, we have a Sunday feast. But this beautiful foods, of course, are offered to Krishna, so there's always a little bit of maha that everyone can have, and especially the guests. And Prabhupada did, when he was speaking about what kind of food to make for the guests, he mentioned these kind of foods: puris, halava, samosas, sabji, and of course a sabji means it's got ghee and spices and so on. So the feast is a very important part of Rath Yatra, and here's why. Then comes the main event of the whole Rath Yatra, commemoration. And it's the meeting of friends, essentially. This is the real activity, the real purpose of it. It turns out that, as Prabhupada describes it, the real purpose of this trip to Kurukshetra was the meeting of friends. Not just the people of Vrindavan, because many other family, friends, and I suppose political allies, and the kings are mentioned, a whole list of kings of different provinces. They all came to join at Kurukshetra, a sort of meeting of the tribes. So they came to renew their friendships with the Yadu dynasty. And Prabhupada mentions some of them even belonged to opposing parties. So sometimes, in a great festival, you may get people from different parties. They might set aside their normal sort of enmities, and they just come and join together in the festival. But above all, Prabhupada says, the visitors from Vrindavan were most prominent. The whole crowd of Brajvasis, they also knew about, because it's a solar eclipse, they also knew there was going to be a solar eclipse.